What's up, cereal bowls? It's your favorite crazy cereal, InsaneAppleJackz, here once again with the Atomic Game Squad. How are you all doing? Because I'm doing super duper chill. Hopefully you all are doing well as well, because today we're here to do another video. Now today's video is actually going to be slightly different, seeing how I just got my platinum inside of Fallout, and I figured I'd sit up here and show you guys how to do the Benevolent Leader Trophy, which is basically to get your settlements to 100 happiness trophy. Now the reason that I wanted to do this trophy is actually because I sat up here and I had a little bit of trouble with the trophy myself, and it was kind of hard to find some information about it, with information spawning all over the place and different sources saying different things. So I figured I'd give you my tips on how I did it. This was all with a little help from a friend named Riozer that was inside of my chat on Twitch while I was streaming, so thank you to him if he ends up watching this. But without further ado, I'm going to get into it. So starting off this little point of interest thing right here, I have the Starlight Drive-In, which is the settlement I just so happen to get to 100%, as you can see right there. But I'll show you again on the actual happiness meter. Now, right here, oops, trying to get it open. Sometimes it doesn't want to open all the way, but right there you can see the 100% happiness, as well as the size being almost at max capacity. Now that's what they mean exactly by a large settlement. They don't mean actual size, they don't mean actual amount of people, they mean it's a settlement. You fit up the maximum size or come close to it based on how much square space you're taking up and how much is usable. Pretty much. Or at least that's the way I've come to understand it, because while this seems like a large surface area for a settlement, you still have a small amount of room of stuff that you can use in here. So, starting off, I used 7 people in my run for it. My friend Riozer used 6 inside of his, so I had to alter mine slightly. But basically, with that being done, I needed to provide at least 7 food. I provided 12. I needed 56. Well, I needed 7 or more water. I got 56 because this settlement was already pre-set up for something else. You don't really need power. Power doesn't count towards it, but if you want, you can use power to make things slightly easier, such as defense or water provisions. So, speaking about the defense, I got 107 defense going on here, and that's split up between turrets and dogs. I'll talk to you about the dogs in a little bit. And then we have 22 beds. Now, I know I only needed at least 7 beds, but I provided extra beds because earlier in some of the little guides on how to do this trophy I was looking at, 20 beds is the max that you want to have for a settlement, just in case somebody wanders in. And this was a radio station area, so I turned off the radio station, but still, it's just nice to be prepared in case you come back. And you don't want your happiness rate to go down because somebody wandered in and they're settled in your spot now, and you got back there too late to move them out before happiness is going down. So I put in 22 beds, and you want to make sure that they're all under a roof to keep the settlers very happy about it. Next up is, what did I actually use? Now, you need to have merchants here, because the merchants sit up here and create happiness. And the thing that I used was tier 3 clinics. So I'll show you the perk that you need to get for this, and it's under charisma. Right now, I'm just 2 off from max charisma, but you don't need that much charisma to get to it. You go for local leader, and the reason you go for local leader, so you can build stores and workshops in your settlement. You also go for local leader too if you want to sit up here and put in for the supply lines, which you can to make this a lot easier. But the reason why I had to go with 7 for my trophy run through of this was actually because I had a supply line. So the guy was always away or in when I wasn't there. So that made that mission slightly harder, because I was providing for an extra person that was never here. So his happiness was always kind of weird. So I eventually stayed up for several day cycles in the game. I found him and I put him onto a station. Now, as you may notice, I have all clinics here. The reason that I have clinics is because clinics actually raise your happiness the fastest. So I put 5 of my settlers onto the clinic areas, and then 2 of my settlers onto food. And that's because settlers can only provide 6 food at max. So you want to use multi-fruit trees, and the multi-fruit trees are valuable because they provide 1 food per each tree. I know I have other food here, but like I said previously, this was a settlement for a different reason at first, but you can change it around with any settlement. The reason you go with a smaller settlement, though, is because you sit up here and you max out your settlement space the fastest, so that sits up here and makes this slightly easier. Like I was saying, Starlight Drive-In was the one I chose to go with because, that's where my friend said he did his, and I just figured that with that being a successful run, why not try it? So back to the dog situation. The dog situation was caught with dog cages, and that's in the second DLC, I believe. It's in one of the workshop DLCs, and basically to get dog cages, you need steel, canned dog food, and copper. And then each time that you use a dog cage, you need more canned dog food to sit up here and revitalize it. Now, the reason I bring this up is because I didn't know how to find the dog food in the first place. So I'm about to show you where you can find that real quick. And we're going to go over to it now. So we're currently at the next area, and it turned out to actually be night by the time we fast travel. But I just wanted to show you where we are and where you have to go real quick to let you know where you can get some quick dog food if you want to do the dog trick. Right here at Jamaica Plains, which is next to southwest of University Point and just slightly southwest of the Boston Military Checkpoint. Now, the reason why the dog method works is because you sit up here and you provide defense as well as happiness for your settlers, and you don't go directly into the Jamaica Plains to get the dog food, but instead you want to walk through southeast, I believe it is. You'll see a highway in the background, and you'll know you're going in the right direction. But just over there, you'll walk upon this highway. There should be a small portion of it on the ground for you to walk up, and when you get up here, there will be several cans of dog food. On your first attempt of coming through here, you'll sit up here and run into a wild mongrel group, and basically they each have names. I don't know if there's anything behind that, but I just felt it was cool to mention that all the dogs had names. So over here you'll catch a can or two right there, and then you'll have several cans right there. You might have to make this run several times. I know dog food does respawn just like everything else does, so possibly make another trip here in the future, because every time that you use a dog trap, it sits up here and uses 1 can of dog food. So just thought I would note that. You can also buy it from merchants as well if you can't find it here or some other reasons. But yeah, that just seemed like a good thing to mention. So I'll pop back to the settlement and show you real quick how much the defense adds on and everything, and then, that's it. So when it comes to actually getting the defense up to what you needed, when this settlement was something else, I was actually using the regular machine gun turrets because I didn't want to waste too much on this settlement at first, but then I started using the heavy machine gun turrets, and the reason that you do that is because you need your defense to be over what your people, your food, and your water equals out to as a total. So you need at least 1 point or more above that, or your settlement won't be happy because it'll constantly be getting raided. And the reason you want to do these 8-point turrets is because you use less resources. Well, you use slightly more resources, but less in the long run to get more defense. And in addition, the dogs sit up here and provide 5 defense each, as well as the happiness, as I was mentioning earlier. The reason why they helped this trophy run out really well. So essentially, with that being added in, you get over real nice, and that's why I ended up making 3 dog houses, because you have a 50% chance of actually taming a dog. And some dogs can't be tamed, so you want to be sure that you're being as efficient as possible with this. And basically, by doing that, you get the dogs out to help you, just in case one of your dogs isn't actually tamed. But in addition to that, you can put turrets around to help you out with that too, so there won't be any dog attacks within that. Final note I actually wanted to make was... So the final note I actually wanted to make was, you don't want to have any robots inside of the settlement if you have the first DLC. So don't use any robots in the area because they're a little bit harder to get happiness out of. Instead, you want to use all human settlers and able to do this. And basically, you should be golden as long as you have a decent amount of food that's equivalent or higher than what you need. So 2 settlers on that. As long as you have around 6 or 7 settlers in a small area, it should be fairly easy to make them pretty happy. And as long as you're using the clinic method, and then with that being done, you'll probably end up around 90-ish happiness with an arrow going up. So you'll probably have to keep doing soft resets, and basically that'll be you sleeping in your sleeping bag inside of the city that you chose to do this in for 24-hour periods over and over again. And that's just so the changes can take into effect and you can actually get through and let the happiness go on. So you'd want to do this inside of there, sleep for the 24 hours, and usually the happiness will go up, but sometimes it won't, and you'll need to do that several cycles just for the happiness to kick in. But eventually you'll end up getting trophies, and that's pretty much it to it. But with that being said, I'm going to send you guys over to the end of the box, and we're going to call it a wrap for this one. And we are back at the end of the box where we just sat up here and finished another super duper amazing video. Big thumbs up to everybody that watched this video, and super duper big thumbs up to everybody that watched this video all the way through. I appreciate you guys for sitting up here and checking this out. If you enjoyed it, be sure to sit up here and give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Let me know how you enjoy this type of video where I sit up here and try to tell you how trophies are, you know, because I like to do trophy hunting, so everybody needs a little help with that sometimes too, me included. As always, feel free to leave a comment down below, whether it's hi, you telling me how your trophy went, or just about your Fallout adventures, period. Finally, as always, on the screen, you can catch my social medias. I'm still trying to fix that, so right now the easiest way to get to it is the links down below in the description, but you know, feel free to check that out. And yeah, that's all I really had to say, so much, peace out, and that is a wrap.